Welcome to another episode of Ballas Union. We're on our 3-on-3 tournament. We got Smash holding down the paint, CP's the guard,
Yay.
and I just stand in the corner and shoot threes.
if I pay.
Yeah, if I'm lucky enough. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. We got the WNBA Finals
Of
in
course,
full
you'd go
effect.
there first. Of course, he would go there
You
first.
already know it.
One lucky pick out of all these hot takes, and he gets it right.
hey, hey, Stephen A. Smith is right sometimes.
Only if you listen to him.
Yeah. And then we got the MLB playoffs.
There we go.
Yep. We got our HBCU spotlight. We can keep that going every week. We got a couple of hot topics with Kyrie Irving and John Gruden, and then the NFL. So let's go ahead and get kicked. Let's get it started with the Chicago Sky are in the finals. Chicago Sky did their thing, and they already took game one from Mercury, which they have a legit victory with DT Griner and Skylar Diggs Smith. But Chicago Sky is a complete team. Candace Parker came back home,
I
leading
mean,
that team.
they're a complete player, and some other people around her.
You know what I'm saying? Man, you already know Sloot. Sloot was out there killing. Copper is having an amazing year. She's having an amazing year. The Shield is excelling in the role off the bench. So it's all around good. All around good. You know what I'm saying? It'll be their first championship if we close this series out. And it'll just be great for the city because the other Chicago teams ain't winning anything. So
Hey, Lonzo Ball look good.
yeah, it's preseason though.
Caruso.
They still don't got a power forward, so I don't have too much faith in them.
Tell Candace Parker to go over there too.
she might embarrass some dudes in the NBA.
She can play the four.
Yeah.
Might help out.
Right.
Yep.
Because the old argument used to be that the women couldn't play in the men's game because it'd be too rough. But now, since they don't, since they call all the ticky tack fouls, she might be able to do it.
Yeah. I honestly, I don't
Good
think no
point.
one in the NBA could stop her post game because nobody knows how to defend the post in the NBA. So
Right.
yeah, but yeah, I wish Goldie was here, for he could explain how the Aces did not make it to the finals. They had the deepest team and they have the best player in the league in Wilson.
I think
Might
if
be
anything, he gonna advocate for 9-foot rims for real now.
Yeah. You're saying I will say one thing: ESPN spent more time and energy talking about Kyrie Irving and showed zero highlights of the WNBA playoffs. And it's not like there was any good series. There were the Chicago versus the Sun, Connecticut Suns. That was a good series. They had a couple of good games there. You
Mhm.
know, the Aces versus Mercury and Mercury upsetting them. Those that was a good series. And then we got the finals. It's just like no coverage, no highlights, nothing. But yet they continue to talk about Kyrie.
But
Talking about Kyrie, he decided he's not going to get vaccinated and he's unable to play home games. And he might not be able to play the entire season, depending. They put out a statement saying until he's eligible to play, for I guess all games, he
mhm.
won't be playing with the team.
Yeah.
So right before you jump into that, I think that's actually one of the problems before with the WNBA. We always talk about it's a boring league and they do this and there's no coverage, but there's literally things happening, and the powers that be would choose to focus on Kyrie and his not playing. But I also think it's smoke and mirrors until I see it. I mean, they were also saying Ben Simmons was going to do all these things and he had practice. So obviously, the Kyrie thing is a little more serious. I guess I could see it happening, but I really got to see it happening. Like, I need to see him on the bench to be like, "Oh, this for real."
Right,
Like,
right.
I feel like he probably already got a booster, and he's like, "I was just playing, just like I was playing with the Earth being flat. I'm here. Let's work."
Right. Yeah, my whole thing is it if you're vaccinated, not vaccinated. My issue with the whole thing is that people are not given a choice. It's like either they're not really giving you a choice. It's like you have to get vaccinated or you just basically can't be in this profession anymore, even though you did it for the last X amount of years. And then that's my only issue because I served in the military, Smash served in the military, and one of the reasons why we served is, to be proud of America, to give people the choice to do to a certain extent, saying have some type of freedom. And the way they're pushing out this mandate and this vaccine, it seems like people are not really getting that choice or that freedom. And then what's really going to kill people is when the next administration comes about, they'll be like, yeah, these mandates were a little extreme. We're just going to do away with them in the first 100 days in office.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, politics are always a game of checkers disguised as chess. There's always people that are making things deeper than they should be. But I think at the same time, 18 months in or 20 months in, without necessarily having it under control, can you really be? And plus, the thing that gets confusing about it, or I guess the thing that makes it more difficult, is that he's falling under a state of New York mandate. It just so happens that he's in a very public profession that's very lucrative. So his argument is almost like the argument is pandering to people that's thinking that this is the NBA doing this. The NBA is almost kind of saying, sitting to the side and being like, that ain't on us. That's on the state. That's why the home game thing is in place. Because it doesn't even mean he'll get 41 games because there's other states that have mandates. So if they play in another state, he could be down to 35 or something like that. Right. So I think at this point, we're just kind of playing bully ball business wise for the people who write the checks. Right. And I'm not mad at them for looking out for their business interests. I think it's okay to not feel positively about the vaccine or anything like that. But you still have to have your business interests in mind. And if he's one out of 500 that's having an issue, even though he's a very important one, then you can't necessarily cater to him too much.
Right.
So
right.
I think that's kind of where they're at.
Do you release Kyrie though?
No,
you got to pay him.
You got to, if you release him, now that's where they're stuck. I agree, Gio. You have to pay him. You almost have to pay him no matter what. So it's like, if I'm gonna catch this L, at least like I'd almost rather have you over to the sidelines, minding your own business, just collecting your check, than having you here 1 minute, gone the next, half practicing, half playing. And he's still injury prone. He's still on the Nets that are overhyped anyway. So like, there's a lot that can come into this. And honestly, it's probably for his own benefit, because if he messes around and skips all these practices and then comes out here and tries to shake and bake and hits the ankle the wrong way, now he's collecting that check on company time injured.
Yeah.
And also, that hurts him. Go ahead.
Yeah. Here's the crazy part about it. He's able to practice because the practice facility is a private facility. So he's able to practice, which is whatever. But he's able to practice, so that negates somewhat of him not getting injured. But if the team really, really wanted to back him, or like they really think he's the missing piece for their championship run, they could go back and turn to New York and be like, okay, we're not going to play no games this year in here.
Yeah.
We're going to go to New Jersey's literally down the street.
Yeah, but they left New Jersey. And again, like, that's where it comes down to being 1 out of 500. If this was the 12th man on the roster, one, he'd be cut. If it was the 6th man on the roster, then the argument would make more sense to be like, we're not just going to do something for one person. Like, they tried to do that with Wiggins. And then somebody was like, hey, man, you're Wiggins. And he was like, you're kind of right. And so I don't even know if he for real got one or got a fake one or got a flu shot disguised as a COVID shot. Like, I don't know. And honestly, I don't care. I think that if you're going to stand out this hard and be the minority in this, then be prepared to take it all the way. But also don't be mad if somebody like you obviously see the rules. It's okay if you don't like them, but when they get enforced, don't be like, "Oh my god, I can't believe this is happening. This is a travesty." Y'all feel me, right? Nah, they don't feel you because they got the shot.
Right.
They feel you, but they not with you.
Yeah. You got anything to add, Smash?
Nah, that was it. I mean, I don't see them making special rules for like CP saying just one player because I mean, and the team is already stacked. I mean, losing that one player ain't really gonna hurt too much, even though he's a major player. But you got to move on, man. I mean, that's his choice, and you either like it or hate it. But whatever choice he made, you got to go. The show must go on. So,
Right. Well, if Kyrie was on the Lakers, this would not have been an issue because they let Magic Johnson with HIV play.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying? Shout out to BTG. He put me at game on that.
Hilarious.
Yeah, but moving along, it was a big fight this past weekend.
Was it?
It was the only fight everybody talked about. It was Wilder versus Fury, and it was good until it wasn't.
Oh, okay. I was like, where are you going with this?
It was like Wilder had at the first 2, maybe 3 rounds, he had a game plan and he was working that body. And I'm like, hey man, Wilder might be an actual boxer. He don't need to rely on haymakers anymore. And then he got punched in the mouth and the entire game plan went out the window. His trainer's like, what are you doing? This is not what we talked about. And then by the 5th round, I want to say, Wilder looked like he was gassed, like he smokes weed all day. And then
I say before the 5th round.
I say he just got lucky really the first couple.
Yeah, it was really about the 3rd round where I was like, he winded already because he came out those first 2 rounds just too fast. He wasn't trying to box. Like you said, he was just he hit him with a couple little shots and then try to land that right real quick. But I don't know, man. Fury does not look like your average boxer, heavyweight or what. Like he just looked like he out of shape all the time. Like
right.
But he was handling his business. The one thing I will say about that fight, I didn't like how Wilder ended it. You know what I mean? Like, dude, you got your butt whipped. Show some respect. Stay in the ring, do what you got to do because that's business part of it. But he just walked out because he was upset. You know what I'm saying? And disrespected Fury when Fury went over there.
Yeah. But the thing is, Wilder is not a boxer. At the end of the day, Fury is a boxer. And so fundamentals will eventually take over and beat you up if you can go the distance. Now, if you're Mike Tyson or if you're somebody like that and you can get away with it, fundamentals don't matter that much. But we saw what happened when they did matter. He struggled and eventually started catching these L's. Wilder is not Tyson. I mean, Wild is in his name, and that's kind of his nature and his boxing style. If we're in a street fight, I want him on my team because he's gonna end somebody. Yeah. But if we're in a ring, I can't do that because it's high risk, high reward. And we are way far away from the reward. Tyson Fury is low and slow, and he'll hit you with that old man skill and that, like, I've been doing this my whole life. And he just knows those instinct things that a couple months of training aren't going to fix. And that's what happened. Those couple months of training bought him 2 good rounds. And after that, he was like, well, here I go.
2 months got him 2 rounds.
2 months got him 2 rounds. And I guess he got bailed out by was it his staff that got COVID or was it Fury's staff? I can't remember. So shoot, he probably bailed himself out by getting COVID because had that fight happened when they're supposed to, we might have only seen 1 good round.
Right, yeah. Yeah, and also Wilder looks like he's uncoachable.
Yeah, oh man, that you took the words out of my mouth. He's definitely uncoachable because he's just that guy who's got talent that just needs to be molded. But if you're not willing to mold it, what you end up is getting 2 months for 2 rounds.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think they really should have stopped the fight a little earlier because, like, to me, he was out on his feet.
Mm-hmm.
It
Mm-hmm.
was a little bit of tiredness, but he was out on his feet in a couple of those early rounds, around the fifth, sixth, or seventh, like that. He was
Mm-hmm.
out on his feet. I don't know how he made it to 11 because I was
Yeah,
like, man, they might need to throw the towel in now.
because those knockdowns weren't even like, ooh, they were just like they would just crumple over, or
Yeah,
they'd swing and
Yep.
miss and kind of get nudged down to the ground. So
Yep.
like you can tell you either gassed or you're already beat up. But like it'd be easier if he was getting like them one hitter quitters or if he was just getting repeatedly rocked and then the ref had to jump in. Okay, yeah, then you're getting beat up. But like when you're just falling over, one, you're out of shape. Two, you're out of skill. And three, you're probably out of consciousness, like you said.
Right. Right. Yep.
it was sad.
Uh, yeah. He could have been great. Again, if he was coachable, he could have been one of the greats. With that being said, MLB playoffs. Let's recap. The
I got
White
so
Sox
much to
got
say.
the White Sox got whooped by the Astros.
Mm-hmm.
Boston Red Sox beat the Rays. I'm not really surprised Boston won, but I'm surprised Boston won 3-1 against the Rays. I thought they'll put more of a fight. Um, Shout out to Atlanta Braves. They beat the Brewers. You know what I'm saying? And we
They
got
they beat the original Braves.
Shout out to Hank Aaron.
yeah. And then we have the matchup is still the Dodgers versus the Giants. So far, the Giants are in the lead of that series, and which is crazy because the Dodgers are favored to win the World Series.
They were, but the Dodgers, but the Giants had one of those just consistent runs where they just kept accumulating wins. But everybody was so focused on the Dodgers that Giants messed around and snuck out. Kind of like the Cardinals won those 18 straight at the end to sneak into the playoffs. But I think the real losers here are the Blue Jays. I think they were a better matchup for the Rays.
Yep.
I think they're a better matchup for the playoffs. But a team like Boston is just playoff ready. This version of Boston, we had the long drought, but this version of Boston just knows how to win. And that's why they beat the Yankees because the Yankees were an incomplete team that shouldn't have made it. The Blue Jays should have been in there. And then that's honestly how they got past the Rays. Now, the Rays kind of got played a little bit by the ground rule double. I think the umpires should have used a little bit more common sense and counted that run. But still, when you have a man on in overtime or in extra innings to start, a home run is a 2-run home run, so they still would have lost. Um, but it's just the difference between a team that's been there and a team that's thinking that they're getting there. And I think the Rays thought that since they were the first place team, they were supposed to win, and that don't work for a team that already knows how to be there. But it's been exciting to watch. I just hate that some of these games are at like noon. You get a
Yeah.
notification on
Yeah,
your phone. You're like, game started. What the? Now I'm halfway through work or halfway paying attention on a conference call as I got a little baseball on the side. So
Yeah. Talking about baseball, it seems like your season never ended, huh? CP.
it never does, man. Youth sports, man. It's the gift and the curse. They keep you busy. They keep you moving up and down the road, and they keep you broke. But we do it for the kids. We do it so that they can have all the things that we have. The reason that we're all on these things right now is because we played sports as kids and we loved it, and it helped form our fanhood into different things. So it's cool to see the different aspects. But yeah, I got two baseballers in the house. I got a junior Met and a junior White Sox and a couple tournament all stars. So we busy, man. Practice today, game tomorrow, practice Friday, game Saturday. I'm tired.
Nice.
Shoot.
Nice.
I was dogging them today
so
though. I was making them run laps and I was running with them.
a quick question, not diverting from, but like from your little league guys, CP,
Hmm.
do they really have the love for baseball?
Some do, and some just out there. So
Okay.
our job is to not really to make anybody love it, but just to keep them in check. Because the ones that love it think they know everything, and then the ones that are just out there, they will check out on you in a minute if you're not, motivating them. So it's a nice little delicate balance. Some people have skill. You can tell. For some people, baseball is either their second or third sport, and then you can tell some people baseball is all they do. And then you got some people that are like, this is cool for right now. So you just kind of try to balance that, put them in the best position to showcase their talents. If they have some natural skill, how do we bring that out on the baseball field for both their benefit and our benefit? So,
I was asking that because I was watching. Like I told you, I don't watch baseball till October, so
at least
I
you
gotta
got a
be
reason
honest.
to.
You know what I'm saying? But watching baseball, it still just it doesn't even seem fun. Like it's a couple of teams that's out there that's having fun and stuff
Hmm.
like that, but it just seems like boring unless you're like seventh inning and up, and it's a close game. But
I
and I was
truly,
just
be-
wondering, like, are the little league kids having fun?
I truly believe that one, it's one of those things where you actually got to be out there to do it. Kind of like golf. If you just watch the golf channel or watch a
It's
Sunday
true.
afternoon, you'd be like, man, go ahead. I can't remember how many times I'd be looking at my dad in disgust, like, you watching this crap again? And
I used
now
to be
I'd be
like,
like, oh, what's Rory doing? Oh, Bryson hit a ball 417. Oh my gosh. And now my kids are doing the same thing to me. But um it's more fun as a kid just because you're innocent and there's no contracts and everything is fun and everybody
yeah.
either just is having fun or thinks that they're going pro. uh, but I truly believe that baseball is more fun when you're out there so you can stay occupied, but also if you don't get into it early it's hard to get into it late. You can always
Yeah.
get into basketball, you can always get into football. I'd even argue that if you tried, you can get into soccer. You just got to find somebody with a cool looking jersey or a cool player or, somebody who scores a lot. You can get into that. It's hard to get into baseball. The way you feel about baseball is kind of the way I'm at with hockey right now. But growing up, I loved hockey. One, because the Red Wings are good, but two, because, in Michigan, everybody plays it. We were
Yeah.
playing either ice hockey or roller hockey or anything. And
Yeah.
you'd get that mix. So it was cool to watch it. But then when you go to a game, you're like, oh, I'm definitely into it. But as you grow older, you're like, just give me playoff hockey, like where it's really intense. I don't need to see all 84 games. Just
And
give me,
that's
just
when
give
I
me
watch hockey too during the playoffs.
exactly.
Right.
Give it to me when it counts. It's so, but I didn't know that growing up. I was like, I gotta watch every game. Now I'm like, one, the Red Wings not in it, so I only care so much. Two, let me wait till the action means something. So I get it. I think baseball's got a problem on their hands that they're trying to fix, but there's a lot of damage that's just done. It's going to be one of those things where you just got to make a choice to be here. It's kind of like buying Apple products. Nobody needs them, but they're just kind of cool, and you want it. So when you want it, you just get it. As long as you're willing to do that, then you're willing to pay for it. But if you're trying to say, "Well, I need it because of this and the capabilities," nah, it's a dead argument every time. Sometimes you just got to be like, "Yo, this is really effing cool, and I like it, and this is what I
Yeah.
want to get."
Right.
That's baseball.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, because you either got the people that like all the hittings and home runs, or you get people like myself. I like the pitching duels. I like to see the
Hmm.
defense,
Yeah, I
and that's
like
probably the
small ball
boringest part.
myself. I like base running and I like putting the ball in play. What like I can't stand the shift. So I can't stand that you got like four people stacking the box on one side. If I'm the batter, why am I not trying to hit it to the other side
Or bunt it.
or anything? Like they're saying the thing is they're saying statistics will show that you hit it over here every time. That we not even gonna let you get a little weak single over here. We're gonna stop you in all the gaps. And my dumb tail is gonna get up there and be like, "Nah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get through it." You got all this open grass over here, and then they end up hitting right to the shift. and then they wonder why it's bad for the game. Like, expand your territory, batters. We expanded for these home runs, and we got pitchers checking for all the secret stuff in their hats and in their belts, and like, expand yourself. But anyway,
And see, I like baseball for it all, for the home runs, for the defense. I even
Mhm.
enjoyed like I like a part of it. Like I like golf. Like I like well manicured golf courses and stuff like that. So I
Mhm.
like looking at the baseball fields and seeing how they take care of them. And I like the little intricate stuff like that. But it's just like now, man. It's just I don't know when you watch it. It just I don't know something's missing. I don't know what it is. I don't know what they need to fix it, but something's missing. They need to get people back in there.
Maybe they lower the rims to 9 feet, and then wrong sport. Shout out to
Make the
Cody.
bats longer.
Yeah,
Right.
make the
Well,
bats longer, make the balls bigger, and then make the bring the fences in 100 feet, and we'll see what
yeah,
happens.
Smash what's missing is PED. You know what I'm saying? Last time baseball was hot is when and everybody was juicing, so but I
Mm.
but
digress.
but it's interesting because I like watching softball because they play real good and it's I don't know it's more like I think they maybe they score more you know what I'm saying but it's normally like in the field and all that stuff so
Mhm.
I don't know
It's probably because it's shorter. Let's say baseball goes from 9 innings to 7 innings, they probably get more. They're probably bringing more of a crowd.
and it might be that I can't hit either pitch whether it's softball or baseball in the pros so either way I wouldn't be able to hit none of them
Right, right.
The problem baseball has is if they change the rules that drastically, then all the stats go out the window,
yeah
and that's a problem. Just like now that they've added Negro League stats, it's kind of like instead of merging the two, it's kind of like an accepted subsection. So
Yeah.
it's interesting that a lot of the things that's holding us back are going to continue to hold us back until we allow it to change. That's probably a
Right.
life lesson though. Message.
Yeah.
And I think they don't have the star power either. It used to be that I mean, you may not be a fan of the Cubs, but you want to see Sammy Sosa get up there, you know, or you like Mark McGuire, so you watch the Cardinals back then and all that
Hmm.
stuff. But
So I
now
think
they
what you
don't really
just
have.
what
Go
you
ahead.
just said is Mike Trout is boring and overrated. I think that's what you just said.
Yes. All facts. All facts. moving
I
along.
think that's what you were trying to say.
Yeah. John Gruden got himself fired. He started the week off, or it started off with he called a person of color saying his lips look like two Michelin tires. That's
That's so
I guess he
random.
yeah. It's like and then he went on his week apology tour, and he had wide receiver Brown talking about he calls everybody rubber lips. I'm like, okay, I don't even know what that means, but okay, I never heard somebody be called rubber lips, but whatever. And then we had Tony Dungy's like, yeah, he apologized. We have to accept it and let's move forward. And then I forgot the guy's name. That it was all on Monday night. There were you
Mike
know
Tirico.
it, Mike Tirico, yeah. They were accepting his apology and moving forward. Like he's a good guy. Don't worry about it. Blah 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 blah. And then that Monday night, come Tuesday morning, like he was talking about women. He was talking about the commissioner. He was talking about he was using anti-gay slur remarks. He's like, yeah, he gotta go.
Yeah.
He gotta go. And just like
Yep.
that, he was either fired or resigned. However, white people resign.
I got a
Black people
counterpoint.
get fired.
I got a counterpoint. I got so many counterpoints because I think it's deeper and we got to look past just the surface issues. Part of that is he was forced to resign, and that's a good thing because um, he loses the guaranteed money by resigning. If they
Right,
fire him, they got to just shell out all 100 and whatever million.
right,
Now, now I don't know the fine print. I guarantee you he's got a golden parachute somewhere that's landing, but it's not $100 million. If he gets
right,
fired, then he collects that check like Bobby Bonilla collects his check. So I think the resignation is a good thing in this case, and obviously it was. not a political move, I'll say it,
Strategic
a
move.
chess move, a strategic move that was probably worked out because if they went ahead and just fired him, they would have cut that check. But the fact that they had to negotiate him leaving, it sounds sweeter, but also it helps them recoup some of the money and the financial hardship that they get from having him on staff. So I'm okay with that point. I do agree that we always get the bad part about we just get straight up fired or we just get straight up this, that, and the third, and he gets a nice fluffy exit. But this ain't a fluffy exit. He just got found out by everybody who didn't know already that he's a piece of crap. So
Yeah,
I'll
right.
take it.
Yep. And then like how this story broke or how this all came about is they're investigating. They're still investigating the front office and the people for the Washington football team.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, like so, it was a year or two ago. They came out with a story like they were pimping cheerleaders, they were confiscating passports, they were doing extra activities for season ticket holders. It was just a whole bunch of crazy stuff, and he had a connection with that organization because during that time, his brother was the head coach.
Mm-hmm.
So he's over there with the good old boys, and this is what 10 years ago, 7 years ago, um, and they're just talking back and forth or whatever, and that's how all this came about. And the crazy part is like, yes, it was a different world 10 years ago, and if it happened 10 years ago, if this news came out 10 years ago, probably nothing would have happened to him. They'd have been like, oh, that's just like what Trump said. That's just locker room talk.
It is, but also like he went past. He's almost dumber than Trump, um,
Yeah,
which is hard to believe.
he
But
had
like,
a paper trail. Yeah.
yeah, like a
Yeah,
legit
that's the
paper
problem.
trail. First of all, his brother was on the Washington staff while Gruden was on Monday Night Football, and they going back and forth on company email, like Washington at that time, Redskins.gov or dot team dot whatever, and Gruden on Gruden.NFL.com, and they talking all this crazy cash stuff. Plus, they're talking to the owner and all this stuff. Like, why would you do that? And then the biggest thing, and this is one of my main arguments why it wasn't just because the LGBTQ stuff came out. They were sending nudes, and like I don't know if all them women were of age.
Oh wow, I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
That's
so
crazy.
yeah, so like he got a lot. He checked a lot of boxes, and the way that it was rolled out in this investigation was like, we're gonna leak a little bit, see how you react. Oh, okay, black wasn't enough. Okay, we're gonna leak a little bit more. Gay hit you pretty hard. Here's some new. Okay, all that, and they're on company emails, and like you start to look back and see all the stances he was taking in this time. Like if I'm Colin Kaepernick, I'm like, see, I'm like Colin Kaepernick says see more than Dave Chappelle will say see. I think Dave Chappelle is just convenient timing, but I think people like Kaepernick gets another feather in their cap here on stuff like this. I think. Did y'all listen to Keyshawn Johnson's rant? It was like 20 minutes long. On
Yeah, I saw part of it.
Yeah, like that's real. Like Keyshawn admitted that he wasn't perfect in that, but like he took 1,000% of the blame on that. 1,000% of the blame on that. And he was like, I've been telling y'all for decades that this dude was a POS. And y'all was like, it's your fault because you're a diva receiver. And he's like, I've been telling y'all he's terrible.
Yeah,
But what happens is you end up getting Mr. Forgiveness, Tony Dungy. And I read all of Tony Dungy's books. I think he's a phenomenal person, but also I think that you it's you know what you're doing when you get him to make the statement. The news broke while he was on TV. You know what that statement's going to look like. It's going to look like I'm going to turn all the cheeks, even though this man stole my Super Bowl, even though,
Right. That was his team.
right. Like, even I'm going to turn all the cheeks just because that's how I live, which is fine. Get it how you live, but you got to get more opinions. Mike Tirico is not black. He'll tell you that himself. He not black like VJ Singh, not black, and like Sage still not black. Um, but they'll tell you that.
Message.
So,
I thought
so
Sage
oh,
was.
well, she hates her race. She hates the fact that
Oh
she's
wow.
black. She's mixed, but she hates being mixed. She,
Okay.
but yeah, oh yeah, it gets deep there too. But like you put the right people on TV to preach that message, but even with the people on the team that made the statements, like all those people got to keep their money. All those people don't have secure contracts. All those people got to keep playing. There's only so much that they're gonna say. You got to look
Yeah.
for the people on the team that were like, I don't want to talk about that right now, or no comment, or I'm gonna let that play out. But all the people that were like, I've never experienced anything like that in the locker room, that means please don't make me mess up my money.
Right.
That's when they say
Right.
I've never experienced, that means I'm protecting my brand. When they say no comment, when they say I have nothing to add or anything like that, that means you know how I feel, but I ain't gonna say that.
Right. Right.
I'll say that when I retire. I'll say that when I get traded or I pick a new team in free agency or whatever. I'll say that when
Yeah.
we're officially out of the playoffs, but I can't say that right now. And so that's kind of what's happening.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Did you and Randy Moss before Keyshawn came out,
Mm-hmm.
and right when it broke out, he was talking about Buddy's having tire lips. He had a statement. I won't say a rant. He just went off, and everybody's like, "Oh, he's being a diva. He's being over
He was
dramatic."
teary eyed.
Yeah, and he was really speaking from the heart.
Mm-hmm.
And what he was saying was like, unless you're basically, if you wasn't black, you wasn't feeling what he was saying. Like everybody
Mm-hmm.
that was black felt that, and went back to experience, saying, or a situation in work or in school or anything in life, where like, man, this is like, this happened because of the color of my skin.
Mm-hmm.
And that
Absolutely.
and that's why I wish like you know the black people would stand up and be more present like the LGBTQ community and not do forgiveness so much. I mean, they could be your friend or whatever, and you just the proper thing I would have said at this time. I have no comment.
Mm-hmm.
You just keep my mouth shut because saying I forgive him, I don't know how deep this thing goes. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like because like I didn't know about the possibly underage pictures and stuff like that. Like I knew it had to be deep for him to resign.
Mm-hmm.
Like you just having those allegations, you might can sweep that under the rug. You might lose some confidence in a couple of your players, and it'll be harder to lead. But you probably could stay on. But when he resigned, I was like, man, they must have found out something deeper in that investigation that they ain't even letting us know
And see,
for him
that's
to
the thing.
resign.
That's the thing. We're just at the beginning of this because he was emailing the owner of the team. So we don't know what his side of it went. Plus, who's my man that always got the jacked up finger? Booger McFarland. He got on there and he was like, "Y'all know that there's 31 other teams. This is not the only instance. This is not
Exactly.
the only owner. These are not the only emails that are getting checked on. This is just the one that we're picking on because they're investigating the Washington football team. Like, so everybody out here with some wild stuff. And they're probably going crazy in their data management departments right now, erasing everything, shredding everything, because a lot of stuff just gets accepted as the norm, or a lot of stuff is so far in there. And that argument gets crazy because he made some insinuations, which black people and other people are smart enough to read between the lines or see what he was saying or see that that's just kind of part of his vernacular. But when you call somebody a straight up slur, that's going to do it.
Yeah.
Even like if we imagine it the other way around, if we imagine it to been like, you know, I'm talking about such and such person, and I'll just say like, oh, they're a little soft, and I put that in company email, or they're a little sweet, just some type of thing that might be insinuating that I'm making some sort of same sex reference. Okay, you can walk that back, or you can kind of put that to the side and be like, well, I ain't mean it like that. That's an inside joke, or I was kind of saying the way he manages is soft, something like that. Even though it ain't true, there's still room to kind of PR spin it. But then in the next email that comes out, if I'm like N word this, N word that, if that MFer, You know, that's the L right there.
Yeah.
That's the
Right.
L. And the
Right.
NFL, since they had already been on this case and they were already trying to get Washington to take the blame for this versus them having to take the blame for this as a league, they were like, we're gonna keep leaking these. And the two teams that like to play hardball are the Raiders and the Washingtons. Both of them had Grudens on staff and people that went to the grave with their beliefs. Jerry Jones is the other one that's going to go to the grave with his beliefs. They were like, all right, y'all want to play hardball? We'll keep leaking these out. And what happened? This.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yep. Yeah. And now that McFarland came up with that statement saying there's 31 other teams, and I always, I feel like the Bears ownership is racist to a certain extent, and then that brought that, that triggered that for me. And the other thing that triggered is the Donald Sterling and when he was the owner of the Clippers,
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
his dad, that phone conversation got leaked, and it was race. Everybody know the conversation, but
Mm-hmm.
the key point of the conversation a lot of people missed was he's saying his friends called him up, saying, "Why do you have these people courtside and all this other stuff?" And I'm thinking to myself, so who are his friends? Other owners?
They're at least work friends. They might
Yeah.
not
Right,
be BFFs, but if they in the same meeting, they're gonna go eat lunch together.
right. You know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking like that. I'm like, so my thought process, like everybody should be investigated. Like, how many other owners are doing this or ruining, somebody's
31.
career?
31.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
maybe 30 because Jordan's an owner.
fair enough, but look how long it took him. Look how long it took the greatest player in NBA history to get on.
Right, and he couldn't even get a piece of the pie from. Well, he put the Chicago Bulls on the map. No one was talking about the Chicago Bulls until he got there.
Right. So, I mean, we can't be. I'm not gonna say we can't be stupid about it, but just we got to
Be surprised.
realize that we can't be surprised. And personally, this was partly going to be part of my 2 minute warning, but I got enough stuff to talk about. Um, if we follow the money and we follow the history of some of these franchises, sports franchises, I'll take mine, the 0-5 Detroit Lions. They're owned by the Ford family. Henry Ford, all the way down to now Martha Firestone Ford. Follow the money. Martha Firestone married into the Ford family. The car company married the tire company.
Mm-hmm.
So double rich. And now Sheila Ford, whatever her name is, she's running it. Obviously not very well. But the thing is, Henry Ford's responsible for starting the 8 to 5 workday or the 40-hour work week. He like these organizations are not new to this.
Right.
They're just new to email.
Mm-hmm.
So like they're just not good at electronics, and so now they got to answer to some of the issues that they're facing. But then this ain't new. This ain't new money. This is new technology.
Right.
So, but to go back real quick, because I'm just like I said, I'm finding out about the picture. They were emailing those pictures on through email,
I'm talking about
or
it
did they
was
get
like
text messages?
no, it
No,
was
it's
like
email. It's all through
John.
email.
Oh
It
my
was like
gosh!
John Gruden at MondayNightFootball.com would send an email to owner whatever and CC J Gruden at
Oh yeah,
WashingtonFootballTeam.net.
y'all need to
Hey,
be lit up, man.
N word,
Yeah.
N word, F word, F word, F the gay people, F the black people, F this woman is a PUSSY, this person is a this, here's some nudes, Kaepernick, I hate him, um, all the above in the last whatever's been happening in the last 10 to 12 years, all that's on email.
Crazy.
Yeah.
All that's on email.
Yeah. So to break it down, Smash, it was like, you know, Giovanni at Navy.mil sending email to Smash at Airforce.mil. And I'm sending you nudes. I'm like, yeah, man, don't worry. We're gonna confiscate their passports, so they're gonna do what they want. They're gonna do what we tell them to do. You're saying they're gonna
And
it's consent, but at a price.
Right.
that was the number one thing, man. You don't send nothing on the company email.
Right.
That's
That's
just a
crazy,
life
man.
lesson. Like you learn that. I
Well,
can't
when you're
remember when you learned
privileged,
that.
you could think you know what I'm saying, you're born or you have the entitlement that you just get away with everything when you're privileged, and we, you know, because of cover our skins, we're not privileged.
Because I was just thinking that like maybe they subpoenaed the phones. Now I'm thinking like, man, if they subpoena the phones, what's all in there?
Right, because all they doing is just doing browser history at this point. They not
They're like,
even
why didn't you
in
even delete it? You know, my
they
thing
not
is,
even in incognito. They just
why didn't
I'm
you
s-
delete all those emails?
right. And
Wow.
there's a
He's one of
message
those
for
dudes that gets like 10,000
yeah,
unread emails.
they
Yeah.
they paying for extra storage because they Gmail full because they got a whole
Yeah.
bunch of
His delete folder still full.
yeah, man.
He
Like
thought he deleted it, but it's
well, God bless whoever the new data manager is, because if I were him, I'd ask for $10 million because
dang. I
y'all
mean,
need me.
it's just it's crazy. But I guess people are. I mean, similar. I guess a similar situation is not as high, I guess, but Facebook. I mean, they kept that whistleblower from Facebook came in there
Mhm.
and because she had
Mhm.
all that documentation from their stuff. I'm like, man,
Yeah.
if I'm running the company, man, we going straight analog.
Yeah.
Right. Or you could just go straight and like be a better person. That's the thing. Our
Yeah,
solution
yeah,
is to like tighten up our security, but like the solution should be stop being an idiot.
Right, right.
Not calling you idiot, but I'm just saying like stop
no,
being
I know
like
what you mean.
be a good person. Don't be racist. Have your own if you're not down with any type of agenda, fine, but don't sit up here and like start movements on your email.
Yeah,
But it like there's ways to live happily without pissing everybody off.
Right, right. Yeah.
You might be broke, but there's still ways to be happy.
dang.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, let's move it. Let's move along. And the HBCU spotlight. You know,
Yes.
CP. I know you've been waiting for this. So you go.
Yes. So shout out to Coach Prime, man. And I'm a wait and see person too. Like I really want him to do well, but also I don't want him to string us along and leave us and do all this pomp and circumstance and dog and pony, and then just drop us. But hey, he got a big win. I think it was important that it happened. I think there's been a lot of not necessarily criticism or scrutiny, but just a lot of eyes on him wanting to make sure he does well. So this big win is important. I don't know if he's going to accomplish the dream of connecting the MEAC and SWAC, especially with so many schools leaving the MEAC. But it's a good time for HBCU football. There's been a lot of good games. A certain school that I love, even though we're not in the HBCU division anymore, we're starting to get our wins racked up. So I think we still got room for a good season. But what I'm really going to highlight is the fact that um, we've got a highlight or a spotlight on our golf team, thanks to J.R. Smith. He's out here being a student. He's out here living the life. Of course, he got better clothes and he's not worried about meal plans and stuff like that. But he's on the golf team. They had their first tournament here this week at the I forgot what it's called, but the Elon Invitational. Elon's a small school around here. They got a really good law school, but they also have a really good golf team, and they are beating the brakes off of everybody. But it's at their home course, so you can you know what you get. But it's cool to see us out there. We're playing. We're representing. Jr. is out there. We are not going to win. We are not going to come close to winning, and he's not going to come close to winning either. But we've already won by being there in the room. So that's my spotlight today. That's my spotlight for what's happening. And my message is as homecoming season arrives, please be careful. Please be safe. Um, think about how much you want to party and have fun because that thing's still out here.
Right, right, right. Smash. You got any false facts?
Yeah, I'll go with a quick one right now, and we'll revert back to the NFL. And I'd be remiss if I don't say that the good coach, that's the false fact, Urban Meyer, um, you know, at first he was the spotlight before John Gruden. He was in the hot seat as he was caught dancing with a female in the
Yeah.
bar or whatever. But it looks like he did more than dancing, but that's just my personal opinion. There's no fact in that at all. But I, I told people that this dude is a bad character from the way that he left Florida, went to
Mm-hmm.
OSU, caused a scandal there, left that program, laid low for about a year or two, doing some college and that I think analysis and NFL, and then he winds up with Jacksonville. He's a car salesman, and the team has lost faith in him.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see him being there after this year. I don't know if he'll take the USC job like a lot of people are saying. Hopefully they won't. Hopefully they'll see the snake oil. But I think he need to do like he said he did when he left Florida and take some time off or just retire and spend time with the family because obviously he can't get it right in his coaching division.
The family don't want him either after seeing that video. So
Don't forget that. Don't forget that heart problem. Or didn't he have he said he got a heart condition or something that forced him
Yeah,
to.
that wasn't that the stress that was at OSU, right?
Yeah,
Or was
I
it at
think so.
Florida too?
I think it was after Florida, and then he chilled, and then he was like, "Oh, I'm good now. I'm gonna go to Ohio
Yeah,
State."
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was a scandal. That means the hard problem was a scandal was coming. So I gotta get out
Hmm.
of Dodge.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I think he's gone by week 7 though. That's their bye week, so I feel like that's
Oh,
gonna
for
be
real?
his. Yeah, I think that's when he rolls because they play in London this week.
Okay.
So there's a now if they lose, maybe he doesn't come back on the same flight. Maybe they're like, hey, just go on a little Euro tour, come back in a
But
week
that
and
that was
collect your
part of the
stuff.
problem because when they played in Cleveland or whatever, he didn't
Mhm.
fly back home with them,
Yeah,
and the team
Cincinnati.
got mad. So that was part
Yeah,
of the problem too. And then this past weekend, him and Trevor Lawrence weren't agreeing on a play.
he keep throwing Trevor under the bus. If I'm Trevor, I
Yeah.
got to fire off on this man.
Yeah,
So they gonna they gonna
that was
protect
a funny
Trevor.
exchange. Yeah, to recap that exchange, the reporters were asking it was a 4th and inches or 4th and 1. The reporters
Hmm.
asking like, why won't you just do a QB dive? Rich? You know, what I'm saying he's like, yeah, it's in our playbook, but Trevor don't really know how to run it. And then it's like that was like the dumbest thing to say as a head coach because QB dive since Pop Warner is in the playbook. So if
Hmm.
you ever play quarterback from Pop Warner and up, I mean, we all know Trevor Lawrence played quarterback all his life. He knows how to do a QB dive.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
With that being said, CP, you have any closing thoughts?
Um. Well, I thought that we were going to get 5 wins this season as the Detroit Lions. I didn't know where those 5 were going to come from, but I can clearly see that we're meant to be 0-17. I hope we just go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and be the first to be 0-17 as we have a new record to aspire to. But also, like, we're the definition of insanity, and I think that anybody should use us as a case study for their own lives. If you want to keep coming in last and doing last place things, it don't matter if you have Hall of Fame talent like a Barry or a Calvin or anybody like that. If you don't make some complete changes and get to the root cause of things, which is the Ford family for anybody paying attention, then you're going to keep repeating this issue. And it just stinks that, tying into the HBCU corner now that we've got an Aggie in management, this is going to fall on his record too. So just if you need to see what definition of insanity looks like, there's a team doing it every single week. But also, just like we saw about emails, there's more than one. So protect yourself and make the change you need to make in your life. Don't wait for a new draft pick or a new money or a new situation to change it. You got to be the change.
Yep. And then I close out. Everybody keep up with your health. We have this. We still in this pandemic of COVID. It's been rough for everyone. People been avoiding your normal checkups, your normal physicals, and you may or may not caught something that you may caught something early, a tumor or a cancer or something like that. So everybody just, stay on top of your health. Stay on top of your health. And on that, we're out.
Peace.